Maybe you've been trying so hard to just hold it all together that you've convinced yourself that resting is selfish. And maybe you feel guilty every time you just sit down. And maybe you've started wearing your exhaustion like it's a badge of honor. But what if it's not? What if the most God-honoring thing you could do this afternoon is put the kids down for quiet time, close your bedroom door, and take a nap? Do you want to be an amazing, present mom and have a real identity of your own, but you struggle with mom guilt and complete overwhelm when you even think about trying to do something just for you? If so, you're in the right place. Hey, I'm Laura, a former teacher and university career counselor turned stay-at-home homeschooling mom of two. Over the years, I've learned a thing or two about how to be the present, engaged mom I've always wanted to be and rediscover my own personal identity at the same time. So, if you're ready to rebuild your identity, rediscover your confidence, and let go of the mom guilt, then get the kiddos settled and grab an earbud because this podcast is for you. Real quick before we dive in, did you know we now have a free community full of mamas who are on this same journey? We're all trying to rediscover who God created us to be in this season of motherhood and beyond, and we'd love to have you join us. Inside our Facebook community, you'll find encouragement, conversations about the topics that we're covering here on the podcast, and practical resources to help you navigate your own Mosaic mom life. So come join us at scatteredwoman.com/community. I can't wait to meet you. Independence Day was just a few weeks ago, and that morning I decided to try this brand new breakfast casserole recipe. I got up early, early for me, mixed everything together, popped in the oven, did my morning exercises while it was baking, and then we all sat down for this great breakfast. And I was so excited. Oh, but side note, if you've never added green chilies to sausage gravy, I highly recommend it. 10 out of 10. After we finished eating, though, I cleaned up the kitchen. And once everything was finally done, I just realized I could hardly keep my eyes open. I was exhausted. We had been go, go, go all week long, and I had absolutely zero energy left. I was feeling like the little engine that could in the beginning of the book when she first breaks down and she says, "I simply cannot go another inch." That was me. And since everybody else was happily off doing their own things, I just went and locked myself in our bedroom and took a nap. And then about an hour later, I woke up feeling like a completely different person. We went and we spent the afternoon playing the University of Kentucky version of Monopoly together as a family. Also, do not recommend. But I had enough energy to enjoy the rest of the day instead of just surviving it. That one nap completely changed the trajectory of my day. And as I was thinking about it later, I realized something I think every stay-at-home mom needs to hear. And that's sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do is take a nap. Not because naps are magical, although, I would be seriously tempted to argue that they are, but because napping may be the best thing we can do because God designed us to need rest. And somewhere along the way, so many of us started believing that a good mom is the one who never stops, the one who is always available, always serving, always giving, always sacrificing, always exhausted. But that's not what God asks of us. In fact, He commands us to do something completely different, which is simply to rest. And let's clarify this here. God doesn't just recommend that we rest. It's not a suggestion. He commands it. When God gave Moses the Ten Commandments, right alongside commandments like, thou shalt not murder and thou shalt not steal, he also said, remember the Sabbath by keeping it holy. Let's think about that for just a second. God could have commanded anything he wanted. And one of the things that he chose to command his people was to stop working. Why? Because he knows how he created us. He knows we're human. He designed us with limits. We can't keep pouring ourselves out indefinitely without pausing to fill up the tank. I hate to be the one to break it to you, Mama, but your exhaustion doesn't impress God. He never asked you to prove your love for your family or your friends by working yourself into the ground. He created you to need rest. And if God designed us to need rest, then pretending like we don't isn't a strength or something to celebrate. It's ignoring the way he made us. Now, I realize you're maybe thinking, well, that's great, Laura, but life doesn't stop. I've still got stuff to do. I know. Believe me, I get it. The kids still need snacks. The laundry still piles up. The dishes somehow manage to multiply while we're sleeping. But you know what? Even Jesus rested. So let's think about that story where Jesus falls asleep in the boat during the storm. Okay? Before he ever climbed into that boat, he had been pouring himself out all day. He had been teaching crowds, healing people, meeting one need after another. And by the time he stepped into that boat, he was exhausted. So he laid down and fell asleep. A storm popped up, waves sweeping over the sides of the boat. None of that woke him up. Have you ever been that tired? Where a huge storm and rain pelting against your windows doesn't even bother you because you're that tired? I love this story because it reminds me that even the Son of God lived within the limits of a human body. And he didn't treat that like a weakness. He didn't treat needing rest like a weakness. He just said, you know what? My body needs this. Just like food, just like water, our bodies need rest. Pastor Andrew Abair from the church we attended in Texas said something in a sermon recently that just made me laugh. He said, for some of you, the most holy thing you can do is take a nap. I'm pretty sure I pumped my fist in the air with a right on when he said that. And maybe you're relating to that statement right along with me. Maybe you've been trying so hard to just hold it all together that you've convinced yourself that resting is selfish. And maybe you feel guilty every time you just sit down. And maybe you've started wearing your exhaustion like it's a badge of honor. But what if it's not? What if the most God-honoring thing you could do this afternoon is put the kids down for quiet time, close your bedroom door, and take a nap? Not because you're lazy, not because you're giving up, but because you're choosing to live within the limits God gave you. And here's the truth that I want us to remember, all of us to remember. Rest is mandatory, not optional, not something you earn after you've finished every chore, not something you squeeze in if you have time, but something that God built into the rhythm of our Mosaic mom lives because he knows we need it. And God doesn't stop with just giving us the command to rest. The writer of Hebrews echoes the same idea in chapter 4, where he encourages believers to enter God's rest for a reason. In verses 9 through 11, he says, "There remains then a Sabbath rest for the people of God." We get it. "For anyone who enters God's rest also rests from his own work, just as God did from his. Let us therefore make every effort to enter that rest, so that no one will fall by following their example of disobedience." Now, two things really stand out to me in these verses. First is that word enter. God isn't just commanding us to rest, He's inviting us into it. It's gentle, it gives us a soft place to land when we're exhausted. He's saying, come on, stop striving for just a little while. Trust me enough to take a pause. And the second thing that stood out is that others are watching how we rest, or don't, and following our example. As moms, we have little eyes watching us all the time. Our kids are watching. The younger moms in our churches and communities are watching. They're learning what it looks like to follow Jesus by watching us. So what are they learning? If they only ever see us pushing through our exhaustion, if they see us never taking a break, never admitting we're tired, always putting everyone else first and never taking a moment to just rest, what message are they going to hear? That a good mom never rests? That a godly woman doesn't take a break? That obedience means running yourself into the ground? That's not what God said. He said to rest. So if I ignore the limits that God put on this mortal body, what am I teaching my girls? I'm sure not teaching them to do what God commanded. And I want my daughters to grow up seeing a mom who works hard and rests well. A mom who serves her family and obeys God's command to rest. A mom who isn't afraid to say, you know what? Mama needs a nap. Because one day they're going to be adults with families of their own. And I hope that when they are completely exhausted, they won't think they have to just push through because that's what mom always did. I hope they will remember that their mom loved God, worked hard, and still took naps when she needed one. Because that's what God designed us to do. That's what He commanded us to do. And that's why when I dragged myself back to the bedroom on Independence Day, I kept reminding myself that it was okay to rest. Because I'll be honest, I still felt pretty guilty. Almost immediately when I closed the door, I heard little feet pounding down the hallway and little hands rattling the doorknob. Why is the door locked? Because Mama needed a nap, that's why. And every part of me felt like I should get back up and go take care of everything and everyone. But I also knew something else. My girls were safe. Eric had everything under control. There was plenty of food in the kitchen. Nothing urgent was happening. The only thing that needed my immediate attention right then was my own need for rest. So I kept my butt in the bed. And an hour later, I came back out. The girls were fine. Eric was fine. The house was fine. And I was a much better mom for having taken that nap. I'm one of those people that needs more sleep than the average person. Some people can thrive on 6 hours of sleep. That is definitely not me. I'm more like a 9 hours kind of person, but I next to never get it. But I know that I am a more patient mom, a kinder wife, and a more pleasant human being in general when I've had enough sleep. And here's something I'm still trying to learn. Rest isn't the reward for finishing everything on my to-do list. If it were, I probably would never get to rest, ever. Rest is something that God asks me to prioritize because He knows I'll never truly finish motherhood. There will always be one more load of laundry, one more snack to make, one more mess to clean up. A mom's job is never done. And if I wait until everything is done before I try to rest, I'll be waiting forever. So I've had to learn that taking a nap isn't something I have to apologize for. It's just one way that I care for this body that God gave me. I care for the mind that God gave me. So here's what we as stay-at-home moms really need to remember. Rest is mandatory. God commands it. Rest is an example. Our kids are learning how to follow God by watching us. And because of those two truths, because rest is mandatory, because rest sets an example, then this is also true. We can rest without guilt. We can let go of the mom guilt and just rest. So, that's my soapbox, and here's your homework. The next time you feel completely worn out, the next time you are just fighting to keep your eyes open and you have that little voice in your head that's saying, just push through, a good mom doesn't need a break, I want you to remember those 3 simple truths. Rest is mandatory. Rest sets an example. And you can rest without guilt. So if you need a nap this week, take one. If you need to declare that everyone gets an extra quiet time so that you can have a little downtime, do it. If you need to ask your husband or a grandparent or a friend to watch the kids for a little while so you can catch your breath, ask. Rest isn't something you have to earn. It's something God designed you to need. So, mama, please, go take that nap. Trust God with the dishes. Trust Him with the laundry. Trust Him with the never-ending to-do list. It will still be there when you wake up, I promise. And I'm also willing to bet that you will be much more ready to tackle it after you've had the rest your body needs. So, if you're looking for some encouragement while you're winding down, or maybe while you're still trying to convince yourself that it's okay to rest, we would love to have you join us in our free Mosaic Mom Life Facebook community. We're building a community of moms over there who are learning to follow God, rediscover who He created us to be, and encourage one another through all the beautiful, messy parts of motherhood. And you can join us anytime at scatteredwoman.com/community. I would truly love to see you in there. Now, go get some rest, mama. I'll see you next week. Thanks for taking time to hang out with me today. I hope you'll discover new pieces of your Mosaic mom life each week. If you've got a quick minute between those never-ending snack requests from your kiddos, I'd love for you to leave a quick review over on the Your Mosaic Mom Life page on Apple Podcasts. Those reviews help other moms find the show, discover their unique purpose, and start building a life they'll love too. Well, that's it for now. Be sure to check back next week for another new episode, and I'll be talking with you again soon.